Alright, hey everybody, today we are talking about Wi-Fi range extenders and where you might be wanting to put your money if you're looking for one of these right now. Okay, so if you're unhappy with the park Wi-Fi or wherever you're at right now, a couple things first. This is not going to help with network congestion, and it's also not going to help with just plain old slow bandwidth. So if you have 300 people, that's congestion. It's not going to help with that. It's not going to put you in front of anybody with priority. It's also not going to help with slow bandwidth. So if the park's only paying for a 1 meg connection, it's not going to speed that up for you. Where it is going to help is going to be with the range. So if you're a quarter mile away through trees, maybe a couple buildings, if you can get the weatherproof ones up high enough, or even these will probably work as well. These are definitely going to help with stuff like that, range, trees, things like that. These will help. So with that in mind, I kind of got a few different solutions here that we've used over the years, and I see common questions about people still asking in forums and stuff, so I thought I'd cover them here and then just be able to kind of link to that video when the question comes up. First up is going to be the Redport system, and they do the Optimizer and the Halo antenna system. And so the pros on this guy are that it's got really good range and it's weatherproof, so you can put it up outside on a pole 20 feet up or on the back of your camper, and it'll work pretty well. The downside to this one, the cons, are going to be expense. The entry point on this is $400, which is kind of pricey compared to the other ones. And the other con is that the setup within this is pretty complicated. It's there's an advanced mode and then like a simple mode. Even just switching between those modes isn't terribly intuitive. You can figure it out, but if you want to get in that advanced mode, it's really tough to work with. I wouldn't recommend this to like my mother. I could probably walk her through it with some tech support over the phone, but it wouldn't be a pleasant experience. But it does have good range. So it uses 12 volts power over Ethernet, and I've seen over 2 miles. I've heard over 4 to 6 miles, but it does have really good range. So kind of the little brother to that guy is the WifiCampPro2 by Alpha Networks. It is not as good as the Redport. The Alpha Networks, it looks exactly the same. It's got all the same ports and everything on it. Uses the identical power supply, 12 volts. I mean, these are carbon copies of each other. I don't know who copied who, but this one is not as good as the Redport. So the range on this is not much better than my cell phone, my tablet, or my laptop, or my Roku stick, or anything that I connect to park Wi-Fi. This doesn't get much further than what I already have. I think part of that is because this one runs off a USB, and they make it go through a 25-foot USB extension cable, and there's voltage drop over that, and I think that affects the range and the quality of what this thing can do. They use the exact same antenna, so all things being equal, that connection is the only thing that's really different there, and they're not interchangeable. This one is set up to only use power over Ethernet. I've tried to switch them, didn't work. So the pros, it's middle point price, so about $150. It's got a very simple setup, and it's weatherproof for outdoor. The only con is the range. It doesn't do what it's marketed to do, so I don't recommend this. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone, unfortunately, unless they do a firmware upgrade or maybe change the connection on the bottom. I'm not a fan of it. It will do its job, but it also had a lot of drops with it, which may be fixed in firmware. I don't know, but it became a moot point with me once I started using this guy a few months back. This is the EX6100V2 by Netgear. This is a Wi-Fi range extender. On the side it has access point and extender mode. I keep it in extender mode, and that's the one that's going to let you pull in that park Wi-Fi and then repeat it out to your devices. The pros on this guy are it's cheap, it's got really good range, and it's got a dead simple setup. It's a smart setup. It's a wizard basically. You walk through, you set up your thing. It takes about 5 minutes, and you will have your own Wi-Fi access point to connect your devices to. And this is just kind of the little brother to it. Me and my wife, for the military, we were geographically separated for a while, and I bought this guy. Hang on to the end, and I'll tell you a little tip here on this yellow port and also about the specs. But one other thing I wanted to say is the disadvantage to this is that you can't really put it up in the air. However, if you hook it up into one of these little white extension cables, you can hang it up in the roof, up near the roof line or something like that, and it'll get even further. As far as connections, this guy connects better, has better range than this guy for the most part. I've done direct side-by-side comparisons right here a couple days ago. This neighborhood over here has tons of home Wi-Fi routers and whatnot over there, and this saw way more connections than that one did. This one doesn't work anymore. I left it hanging upside down one night, water got in it at a park, and it's dead now, so I can't do comparisons with that. But this thing is awesome, and the only downside is it's not weatherproof. It can't put it outside like the other two, but again, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. I have this behind the TV in here about 6 feet, probably 7 feet off the ground, and it does amazing. So before I get to this and the AC spec, I did want to say, if you would please, if you liked what I'm talking about here, give us a thumbs up down below. Hit the subscribe button and bell notification. I'm going to have some more stuff coming about this yellow port here that I'm going to tell you. I'm going to briefly talk about in a minute. And I also have a new satellite dish back there that I'm going to do a video on. We're heading to the Badlands tomorrow, and I want to try to knock that video out while we're there. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to sub and click the bell icon. Okay, so the yellow port. The yellow port is internet out. So whatever you connect this to, that same internet will come out of this Ethernet port. So I set this up in extender mode, and it becomes now my cable modem in a residential home. This would be like a cable modem. And I take that yellow port and I plug it into the internet in port, also usually yellow, on my Wi-Fi router. And then that router, I label that's called home adrift. That's our SSID, or when you log in, it's home adrift. And everybody in the home just connects to that router. The benefits there are it also has the NAS server. It also has our home theater server. All of our laptops, everything connects to that. Our Roku stick, our Amazon Fire, all that stuff connects to it. And when we show up to a new park, all I have to do is change this to connect to the new park Wi-Fi, and then automatically that internet goes from here to the router, and everything's connected. I don't have to go through and set up new passwords on 16 different devices in our home, because we're a very internet connected home, and the kids don't have to, what's the password? What's the password? I get it at the desk. I don't give it to anybody. I just plug it into here. If it works, it's great. What I'm going to do with this now, though, is hook it up to the satellite. That's what we're using it for now. So I just wanted to say that. I'll do a whole nother video on that if people are interested, and put some comments down below if you want me to do something about that. I'll be happy to do it. It's not a terribly difficult setup, especially with the router we have. Okay, the AC specs. So I went to Best Buy today. I cruised through. I was looking for something for Sandy, and I cruised through the Wi-Fi range extender aisle, and there's no shortage of options in there. You got the D-Links, the Netgears, you got the Linksys, you got all different kinds in there. Any of them are going to be just as good as the other. I recommend these just because I know them, I use them, and they are simple, and they work really, really well. And for $60, I don't know if I mentioned that, these are all $60 for this guy on Amazon. Any of them are going to work pretty well. They all have AC specs on them, and that's part of the 802.11 AC IEEE specification for wireless LANs. And this isn't a technical video, but that number, the AC whatever number, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, is the total throughput that the device is putting out on that unit. So if it says AC 2000, it's putting out no more than 2,000 megabits per second. So that AC specification is kind of a marketing ploy. Don't buy into it. If you ask the sales clerk which is better, 1,000 or 2,000, they're probably going to tell you 2,000, and technically they're right, but practically it doesn't matter. And also I'd also mention that these do 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. These are only going to do 2.4 gigahertz. Again, practically it may not matter. 2.4 is probably fast enough for everything you're doing, but to have 5 gigahertz for less money, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. So again, just a real quick wrap up. If you got $400 to spend and you need, range is very important, get this guy. I would avoid this guy unless they do a firmware upgrade or they switch to power over Ethernet. And for 99% of the people out there, this is going to be your solution. Just a $50, $60 little guy like this. A note, I'm going to put links to Amazon for all of these down below. They are commissionable links, so I get a small cut if you buy from them, if you buy it through my link, but it doesn't cost you anything. It helps us to continue doing these videos and stay on the road, and so that'd be awesome. I would appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it. Again, comments below, like, sub, and click the bell. And that's it. Thanks for watching.